All right, okay, let's get started. Hey, and welcome back, everybody. I just saw you all 3 minutes ago, and I definitely did not just down another thing of coffee and fly through a bunch of pre-production to be here. I secretly did. It's good to see everyone is still here. Glad you guys all hung out for the little in between. Hello to Misha. Hi, Sam. Thank you for moderating. Hey, Steve. Hey, Rick, Bruce, Oliver. Gareth, thank you all for being here. And if you guys are over on YouTube, make sure that you guys hop on over to Behance where the real chat's happening. Sam will go ahead and put that link in there for you over on YouTube in the event that you want to hop over. If you're watching the replay, we've got a great show for you. If you're watching the live, we also still have a great show for you. Thanks, Derek. And we will be going over Ayelet's work. We're going over inspirations. We have some Inktober stuff that we're going to be going through. It's going to be a really good time, and I'm really excited for you guys to hang out with us for the next 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours is how long this show will be going. So if you have something where you're working on it and you want to lurk in the background, you're more than welcome to do that. Also, if you have some meetings, you want to come back, we'll be here hanging out, taking your questions. If you have questions and comments, please put them in the chat. I will reiterate them and bring them over to Ayelet, and then we will approach them accordingly. So I'm really excited to introduce you to her. She is someone I found through Instagram. She has a really good take on being able to properly document and showcase design work. And she also spearheads a group of people together that helps inspire different artists and designers to come forward and come up with ideas so they can constantly be creating. But this is her first time on Adobe Live, so please do me a big favor and give her a very warm welcome, and welcome to the show. Hi.
Hi.
Good evening, right?
Yes, good evening, and good morning to you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm in the thick of it. I'm wide awake now. I'm nice and wired. But I'm also just very excited to kind of break down your work and talk to you about a bunch of different art stuff. So thank you for taking the time for being here with us. Do you want to just take a moment and kind of introduce yourself, how you identify as an artist, what you're passionate about, and where people can find you?
Yes, so I'm Ayelet. I am a brand designer, and I love working with small businesses to create really confident, fun, exciting, unique, playful, youthful, energized branding. And yeah, I've been a graphic designer since 2019, but I pivoted into brand design about a year and a bit ago. And that's also when I started my Instagram, Design by Ayelet. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride. The way I would sum up my career is definitely unexpected and spontaneous. I started my Instagram like completely on a whim. And like I said, a year and a bit later, here I am. I just reached 100,000 followers, and it's been crazy. It's been honestly crazy.
Congratulations, that's fantastic. I can't believe also how fast it's gone. I mean, it's one of those things. It just speeds up, and once it gains momentum, it goes. But you also have put so much time and effort into your work. So yeah. I think that we're gonna first start off. We have a few different things for let's look at your work, but I kind of want to just start off with pulling up your Design by Ayelet. Also, can you I should have checked before we went live. Is Ayelet?
It's Ayelet, but seriously,
Ayelet.
don't worry, it's like the hottest name in the world. So
it's a very pretty name. Very pretty name. I just want to make sure that I'm saying it right by you. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna hop into our first segment, which is let's look at your work. Let's look at your work. So I went ahead and I pulled up your Instagram here, and you have such a great brand identity for yourself, which I mean is obviously so important and makes sense since you're in brand design. But immediately you can tell it's all from the same person, it's all from the same voice, which is really exciting. And you have this pink motif that you have going on.
Very
How
pink.
did you come to brand your own page?
Oh man, it was like the hardest thing in the whole world. Which everyone says, I think. Branding yourself, I mean, like you're your biggest critic in general, but then also when you're trying to brand yourself, you just start questioning like who you are, what you like, everything.
Yeah.
Plus I find myself like loving so many styles. Even now I see other brand designers and I'm like, oh my God, I want that branding. And it's like every single thing. So at first I just made whatever logo. It was just an A. It took me like 5 minutes, and it was actually the first logo I had ever made. And I had that until I rebranded about, I don't know, a few months ago. And with this, I tried to rebrand like a million times, but with this, I just wanted to make it really illustration focused because that's what I love to do. My background is just like traditional art and stuff like that. So I love to create illustrations, especially when they're really cute and like the sticker effect that I have going on.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was definitely what I started with. And then I wanted my logo to just be really simple. Also, because I don't use it that much, I like to use the photo of me instead.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's kind of how it was. And I knew it had to be pink, obviously.
Yeah. Pink's your favorite color?
It's actually not. It's actually
No.
surprisingly, my favorite color is like a beautiful sage green.
Okay.
All around my apartment is sage green. My computer's sage green, but my work is pink.
I
Yeah.
mean, my favorite color is green, so I don't disagree with you there. I'm just also surprised after seeing all the pink that's not your number one go too.
Yeah, I know. It is surprising. My aesthetic, my like self aesthetic is very just minimal and like earthy and everything, which is so funny because that's not my work at all.
Right. But I
Yeah.
mean, you know, you also it's probably nice to have that divide between the two of like this is when I'm working and this is when I'm just me.
Mm.
Um, but also finding that kind of happy medium.
Yeah.
Um, but you said that you started when did you say you started up this Instagram?
About June or July last year.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, that's very fast and heavy. And you also have a presence over on TikTok. Do you feel like you have a good grasp on the intricacies of the two separate platforms, or do you kind of just like create one piece of content and post it on both?
So my TikTok I neglected for a very long time. Still do, honestly. Instagram is just like my preference. I feel like I understand it a lot more.
Hmm.
TikTok I don't understand, but yeah, I will just make like one piece of content and then put it on Instagram, and then when I get a second, I'll put it on TikTok as well.
Right.
But time and energy definitely does not go into TikTok, which is bad. You need to diversify for sure.
Yeah. And I think that it's also like as an artist, you have to already think of so many different things. Then all of a sudden, you find yourself having to think of like I don't know how you're going to adapt to a certain platform or some sort of like different medium, and like if it can all be the same, or if you know you have to take that extra effort. And it just adds yet another thing to think about. But you obviously do it very well. I definitely don't think you neglect your TikTok anymore. And you can be found on both of them at Design by Ayelet
Yeah.
on both of them, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to also go ahead and I want to pull up some of the stuff you sent over to me. The first thing that we have is this logo for this realtor and dream maker.
Yes.
Do you want to talk through how this came to be, what this is for, and
Yeah.
yeah,
So this is for my lovely client, Marlena Madoff. She is such an awesome realtor based in California. So if you live there, check her out. She's really great. And she also makes the most amazing ceramics, like stunning ceramics. So she came to me and she wanted to create a logo slash branding that could work for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's also very fun. She has a big personality. She's just, yeah, she loves to have fun. And yeah, it was just such a dream working with her because it was just so freeing. Like, we didn't want to be like boring and corporate. We wanted to have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, there are a few things that went into this logo. Mainly the house illustration. There's a lot of detail behind that. So basically, she wanted to include something homey because that works with her ceramics and then obviously the real estate. And so when I was thinking of ideas, she also used the word magical and whimsical a lot. And immediately I just thought of like a really cute little cottage in the middle of like a forest or something
Right.
with like vines around it, and it looks really magical. So I kind of wanted to make it look like that a bit, but then also like a modern house. But she also specializes in Spanish style homes, which when I was doing research, I noticed they have a lot of tiles on the roof. So that's why I did the tiled roof. And then the little vines are kind of like that magical cottage feel. And then the palm tree is for California. And the little bike on the side, she also likes to help people invest in properties and turn them into Airbnbs and vacation homes and stuff like that. So the bike was just like a little bit of fun, a little bit of like vacation, holiday sort of things. So yeah, I kind of put all those things together, all those ideas, and this is what happened. And yeah, we really love it. And yeah.
No, the things that stand out to me, I mean, I think all the things you just mentioned really read. I liked when you're talking about the tiles, the top, because if you even look into the tiles, like it has an organic feel to it, and the idea that they're not all just duplicated side by side. Some are wider than others, and some are thinner than others. So it gives that idea of like this traditionally made organic roof, and then
ceramics as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
I really like how the bike adds kind of to this asymmetric feel because you have so much symmetry in the middle, and it's kind of nice to make it feel once again more like not a sterile cookie cutter house, but this this half and half. And then, did you do the type by hand for the actual word mark?
So this font is called Beloved Script. It's actually on Adobe font.
Oh,
It's stunning and amazing. And so what I did was I just went through different glyphs they had specifically for the M's, which is my favorite trick, by the way, when you're doing type design or logo design. Go through the glyphs because they have incredible things sometimes, and it just can make a massive difference. But I did customize one of the M's slightly. I don't remember which one. But yeah, just to make sure that everything fit nicely.
yeah, no, it looks fantastic. It looks very organic. Like a lot of times, if you see like a typeface that is meant to be handwritten, you can kind of call it out too much. And in this case, it feels very believable. It passes well. And I think that modifications that you made go very far. By the way, I do want to address some of the comments that we have over in the chat. If you guys have questions, please continue to throw them in the chat. But as far as self-branding goes, Bruce wants to know how long it took to brand yourself. And Becca wants to know if you have any tips for how to start the process of getting your brand going.
Okay, so first of all, when you're starting out, don't overthink it. It's more important to just have something, and then you can start working and work on it later. That's what worked for me, at least. Because branding myself was a long process, a very long process. Pretty much from like the second I started, I thought I would have my original logo for like a week. I thought I was gonna rebrand myself in a second, but seriously, for like a year, I was working on it. Not full time or anything, just like on the side. Whenever I had a second, I would try different ideas. But it also takes time to like understand who you are as a designer, understand the kind of clients you want to attract, and also the kind of things that you like. And also, it's a good idea to give yourself time to grow as a designer as well. I don't think I would have been able to do what I did back then. So I am happy that I waited. even though it was painful watching, like seeing my old branding, I hated it so much, but
Right.
it was worth the wait for sure.
Well, thank you. That's really great insight. It's always something that I'm always kind of struggling with. And constantly, like, I'll create something and then I'll get sick of it. I'll get frustrated and I'll change it rather than kind of letting it breathe and grow and build into its own thing. So it's nice to be able to hear that you're like, yeah, no, I was so frustrated.
Yeah,
Um,
it was so annoying, but it's just a good idea to just let it be while
Let it
you
be.
work on other more important things. Yeah.
Welcome Megan to the chat. It's good to see you. And hello everyone else that's coming in. Sam, by the way, is saying that he really likes how much all the line weight looks consistent between the text and illustration with the previous one. And I want to hop into this next one because I really like how it shows your wide range of skill with illustration. And we have this logo that you created and this brand identity with some patterns for PD's Pies. Do you want to kind of speak to these a little bit?
PD's Pies was so much fun to work on. Yeah, Pete/PD and Victoria reached out to me ages ago, actually, and we'd worked on this ages ago. But it was so much fun. We wanted to go for really, I don't know, just fun, different, but kind of gothic and kind of moody feel. And the pie illustration in the middle, that was actually what they had in their original logo, but the arm from like the hand it was extended way down and it just looked a bit clunky. So first things first, I cleaned it up and I redrew it just to make it a more kind of like tattoo vibe.
Yeah.
And then we took a while trying to find a good font. And I don't know, something just didn't feel right. It wasn't flowing. And then I just thought it would be really cool to like mix in some black lettering with just irregular sans. So I sent it over to them, and literally they replied with all in caps, "Hell yeah, so rock and roll!" Like, yeah, it was really fun. And then I just got carried away with like all the different logo variations that I created for them. Yeah, I just had so much fun with it. I just didn't want to stop.
I love the mix. I was going to actually ask you about that. The mix of like the gothic black letter and the very clean sans serif fonts that you have going on in the middle of the same words. How did you come to find the pairing between those two and make it so they felt so cohesive?
Yeah, so okay, first of all, I've always loved mixing fonts. I see it all the time, and I think people should do it more because it's really cool. But with this, I had found a font on Creative Market, and I loved this idea. It came like this, like that it was a mix of black lettering and sans serif. But the actual font that I purchased, it didn't fit right. So I decided to kind of recreate the same sort of idea on my own. And just to find a good balance, I was just playing around, like swapping in different letters, taking out letters until it felt right. And not too heavy on the black lettering, but, you know, balanced and not too hard to read. And yeah, this happened and it was just really fun.
And then you also even extended it beyond just the illustration, just the logos, and you have these illustration patterns that you have going on. I see there's a question from Wild Amani Creative saying, "How do you come up with the illustrations?" And I know you also spoke that the pies came from something that they originally had. There's so much of when approaching a rebrand, seeing what you can salvage from the already identifiable and created things and making it still feel fresh. But these other ones, were they just inspired by tattoo design, and how did they come to be?
Yeah, so the style we wanted to go with was tattoo style. And yeah, like you said, the pie was always there. They actually were open to changing it, but I thought it just needed to be redrawn a bit and cleaned up, and then they loved it again. So yeah, fix that first of all, and then I just made a list of some things that could work well with their brand. So they're all about like skeletons, and they have a really cool backstory as well, where basically they're a partnership in the business, but also in real life they're a couple. And it's kind of like that inside thing that like he's a skeleton and she's like a witch, like very witchy vibes.
How on brand for the month.
Exactly. So I knew that we needed to have some sort of skeleton and some witchiness going on.
Yeah.
So we created 3 patterns actually. This is for Chicago. Then we have a regular pattern, and then we have an LA pattern.
Wow. So they all are differentiated based on location.
Yeah.
That's
And
very cool.
so this is the regular pattern that we're looking at. And they gave me a list of some illustrations they wanted to include, but I also just brainstormed and thought, okay, what works for which? So we've got the crystal ball, it's kind of witchy. Obviously, the witch hand. Medusa was Victoria's idea. She really connected to Medusa being like a powerful woman sort of figure. So definitely wanted to include that. The skull because of the skeleton, and yeah, just the crosses as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
That's like
tried
the
to.
rose that you have going on too. It feels
Thank
very
you.
very tattoo, very punk,
Yeah.
gothic punk. Becca says she just realized that she was already following you because she's seen this pattern before on her feed.
Oh my
So,
god.
infiltrating even when people don't even realize. And then this is your LA pattern, right?
Yes.
And you have little
And
cherubs on this one.
yes, what's different about this is they wanted something to represent LA, but not stereotypical like a palm tree or I don't know, something like that.
Hmm.
So I was having a think and I was thinking, okay, maybe like some sort of angel would work or some sort of cherub. I don't know why that came to me, but it just did when I thought of LA for some reason.
Yeah.
And then I made it a naughty cherub because it's actually smoking a joint. Culture in LA. So yeah, I just thought that would be really fitting and they loved it. So, and then for the Chicago one, we just did the flag because that's what they requested. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Next up, we have your dead sour activation that you have, and this is for a. It's a candy of sorts.
Yeah, so this was just a passion project, just for fun. I love doing passion projects as much as I can and as much as time will allow me to, because I love to just, let go of all restraints, just go into Illustrator and just start designing and see what the hell happens. So with Dead Sour, I started with the logo, which I kept very basic because I had this vision of what I wanted to do with it. I just wanted to make sour candy packaging. That was my goal.
Do you
So
like
I
sour candy?
I love it. I don't have a sweet tooth, but I have a sour tooth for
Do you
sure.
like Sour Patch Kids?
I don't know if I've had that. Actually, no, I have. They're not sour enough.
Really? I would say you're more of like a warhead. Do you have warheads?
No, I haven't.
The warheads are the ones that are the like, at least in America, they're the ones that are like growing up. You would have a warhead, and it would just make your face
Oh my
like
god, I
just
need to
punch in
try.
on itself.
That's what I like. That's like perfect.
What's your favorite candy?
um, so fun fact, I'm actually sugar free,
Yeah.
but before I was sugar free, I there was this candy here called Zowers,
Okay.
and it was Mike and Ike's.
Yes.
You have that. Okay, so it's the sour version of that kind of thing.
Oh, I
Um,
think I've seen Sours before.
yeah, and they're pretty sour. And I swear before I became sugar free, I would have like a massive box a week.
Yeah.
I just
Wow.
yeah, I really
So I can
but
understand why you went sugar free.
yeah. Oh my god, yeah. That's a funny story in itself, but yeah,
But
that
these
they were the
work so
reason.
well. I'm obviously noticing a little bit of a motif that you have with skulls here. I know that he was saying he was skeletons before, but you also have
Mhm,
another skeleton here, and that kind of rings true. But they feel like they're two unique properties.
mhm.
And then I like the fun, energetic to them. They feel like they have a youthfulness to them, but I also don't feel like I'm eating something that is for 10-year-olds. I
Yeah,
feel like they still feel like they can bridge all gaps, and an
thank
adult
you.
can be eating these for fun.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah, I had
Now
a lot.
these are just mock-ups that you have digitally created, or did you shoot these?
No, I did not shoot these. I found these mock-ups. They were actually free online.
Oh,
Um,
great.
and yeah, they're great mock-ups. And I just put them together. Either they were free or they were on Envato Elements. I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just put them together, and I actually did the design first, and then if you see that I added like a few actual photos of sour candies, that kind of just that idea kind of just popped into my head when I was putting them together in Photoshop. I was like, it needs something else. So
Right.
I just grabbed like an image of a sour candy and just put it around uh, the text.
Oh yeah, I see. Like how it kind of has a mask in front of the D and the S over here,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
adds for a nice element of depth, which is really nice.
yeah. Thank you.
Next up, we have this period box. And do you do a lot of packaging design? Do you feel like? Do you think is that something that you're really passionate with? Um, having the experience of opening a box and the design that goes into it, or are you more passionate about just like the branding of itself and creating what goes on the box?
So when I first started, packaging scared me so much. I never wanted to do it. But then I got into it slowly, slowly. But now it's all I want to do. I like when I'm doing passion projects, I don't even care about making the branding or anything. I just want to do packaging, which is what
Yeah.
happened with Dead Tower. I just slapped a logo together, but I was like, I want to focus on the skull. I want to focus on everything else. But with Period, I feel like this was one of maybe the first packaging things I kind of did.
Hmm.
One of the few first. And this was actually a brief that I did with my two brief partners, Victoria and Olivia. We run the Glow and Grow Club on Instagram. And so I like to do the briefs too because it's fun for everyone. Um, and so I wanted to make this, yeah, just really fun, really relaxed, really casual, and very feminine as well. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, I'm
And
noticing once again like kind of a see-through point with the idea of these patterns that you create. Do you ever create anything like a wrapping paper or a wallpaper that you would maybe create? Would that be something you'd be interested in creating?
so I created the company No Issue. They reached out to me a while ago and they asked me if I wanted to create a tote bag.
Hmm.
Um, so I created a pattern for that. I didn't prepare it. I wish I could pull it up, but
Oh, it's
yeah,
fine.
it was cute. Little oranges and citruses and stuff like that. And so yeah, that was fun. I have the tote bags here. They sent me like 25 of them, so I just give them out to like all my friends and family. So I have a whole little like tote bag gang out there in the world.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah,
And I'm guessing they're good quality then, especially obviously if you're handing them out or whatever.
yeah, they're great. I love them.
It's got to be so cool to be able to have something with that your creation,
Yeah,
and it's such a physical form.
yeah.
Um, Bruce says it all seems so fun for the packaging and the creation. He asked if it gets pricey as you kind of create these different mock-ups and ideas.
So with clients, it's very much dependent on what they're looking for, how detailed they want everything. But for me, I just like having fun with it. So yeah, it doesn't get pricey for me, but for clients, it really depends on what they're looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to tell me a little bit about this pina colada piece that you have? The Great
Yeah.
Fizz?
So this was for another brief that me and the girlies did. And this is for like a mocktail brand. And with this one, and like I was saying before, I love just letting go of the restraints and everything and just when I have time, just open up Illustrator and just see what happens. So this is what happened this time. I literally opened Illustrator and I was like, I'm just gonna start making shapes and see what comes together. And then I made mock-ups and I was looking at them and they were kind of empty. And I was like, you know what? I've never really experimented with adding photography into my mock-ups. So I just decided to do that and it looks really cool.
It was such a great choice.
Yeah,
The
it's definitely
energy that it
something I do all the
provides,
time now. Yeah.
and also
Thank
the
you.
selection of it is really cool. How it's still a very like object on a bright saturated color, but just enough that it creates that idea of like extra photography or extra spatial
Yeah.
awareness, but then still pulls it back to be like, oh, but we're still like an iconographic object on saturated color, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure. And after this, I started adding photography to everything. Packaging, I love it. It just adds such an amazing dimension to everything.
Hmm.
Makes it feel a lot more real as well.
Out of these, which one is your favorite flavor that you made?
Uh, Probably the pina colada or the fruit punch, I think.
I
Probably
think
pina colada because I love pina colada.
I
So
specifically also really love this coconut over here,
I
and just kind of
know.
how everything's broken up. I think pina colada one's also my favorite.
Yeah, I do like it a lot.
How about you guys in the chat? Do you guys have a favorite between these four? We have pina colada, peach daiquiri, fruit punch, and cosmopolitan as your four options. Let us know which one you have. In the meantime, Robin wants to know if you provide strategy with your brand packages. They love designing, but the strategy really gives me designer block at times. Do you get designer block, and how do you overcome it?
So I definitely do incorporate strategy as well. That's how I start off. I do brand strategy and creative direction. That's the first presentation that my clients are going to get. And I think it can be overwhelming when you're starting out. And it could be a good idea to uh, do some sort of course or even buying ready-made templates to see the kind of things that you need to fill out or things that might help you. That's definitely what I did, and that's what helped me a lot. Um, but I actually really like it. I like, oh, you know what I love the best? Um, Competitor analysis.
Oh,
So I get my clients to fill out a very in-depth client questionnaire, and I tell them to list some of their competitors, and then I get to do a deep dive into the competitors and like critique their branding and everything, and it's really fun.
and like
Um,
create a presentation kind of out of the idea of like this know the enemy.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a little portion of the brand strategy as well that I like to present them with and say, here's what they're doing, but this is what we can do way better and like that kind of thing. And yeah, it's fun. I think you learn to love it though, because it can be overwhelming at the start.
Yeah, and then so how do you get through the block of it all? Do you do like certain thought exercises, or do you uh I don't know, approach in such a way to kind of get out of a rut if you're in a rut?
So I don't know how much I really get a block when I'm doing that. I think because, like I said, I get my clients to fill out a very in-depth questionnaire where they go into everything about their brand, their goals, aspirations, everything like that. And also about their audience as well, who they want to target. Um, excuse me. So
Mhm.
I don't
I
know
think that's
because I
great.
have that. Yeah, because
I
I
think
have
I
that
think
a lot.
as a part of it, it's just saying continue communication, talk more, dig more, research more, and the ideas kind of will manifest from that, it seems.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're not sure about anything, just talk to your client about it. Even
Yeah.
get on the call and be like, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That kind of thing. You can get a lot of insight from that.
I'm saying back in the chat, people are voicing which ones they really like out of the flavors. Becca's really like Cosmopolitan. Umacorn is saying that the pina colada and peach one sounds interesting.
Mm.
And then, of course, Bruce said he's also a fan of the pina colada. And then Sam just likes all of them. So
Okay.
I think they're all very strong. I know you also sent over, which is my favorite. I like frozen treats. And you sent over a help me. How do I
Abio-
pronounce this? Abiukoko?
Abiocco, I think. It's an Italian word.
Abioko.
Get
Okay.
this. It means the feeling of satisfaction after a big meal,
Ooh,
which is just like perfect
that's a
for,
great name.
yeah. So this is what I was talking about with now I incorporate photography into packaging because it just makes such a difference.
Yeah.
It's just great. In the old days, I would have just made that an illustration, but I think photography just brings an element that you just sometimes can't achieve with an illustration. It looks like, makes you want to eat it.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you I know you said you don't do sugar anymore, but do you have like sugar-free frozen treats, or was this more something where you were almost tortured as you created works with it, but you couldn't eat it?
So occasionally, if we have a tub of ice cream, I'll have the cheeky spoonful every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I've actually been sugar-free for like 5, nearly 6 years. So I don't miss it that much. But when I was looking at the ice cream pictures, I was like, especially the chocolate one, because, ooh, I love chocolate.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I really need chocolate ice cream right now.
And so when you were approaching this one and your chocolate feast, would you also create this word form as well? Is this a typeface that you modified, or is this just something that you kind of like manifested through Illustrator?
So, yeah, this is actually a combination of 2 typefaces. The main one that you're seeing is Genty. But then I took some of the swishes from different letters from the typeface. I think it's called Groovy Script, I think, or Baylor or something like that. I don't know. And I just cut off the swishes from the letters that they were attached to and then just put them into the B. So as you can see, one of the B's is the original, where it's just short. And so then I took the swish and I just placed it on top and then fit it nicely, smoothed it all out. And same with the O, I just attached little swish. And it's just little things like that that just make a massive difference.
Yeah, and give identity to the idea that somebody isn't also going to take the same typeface and create the same logo. Like if you make the smallest change, at least it then, becomes still simple and it's still a nice word mark, but it at least is unique in its own way.
Yeah, it's different. It's personal. It's
yeah. I see that Bruce is asking if there's a tagline on the side or if that is just filler text. And I think he's referring to the flavors, actually.
Yeah, it's just flavors. This was also a passion project. So if it was client work, there would have been a lot more stuff on the packaging and with the
nutritional info is so annoying. I've had to do packaging one time before, and it was with the nutritional info that I was like, this is messing with my vibes to make it look pretty because I have to have too much legal stuff on the side.
Yeah, I literally had to do that like 2 weeks ago or something. And it was just looking so nice until I put that stupid like nutritional info thing, and I was like, ruins everything.
Yeah. And then the last one that I have here is your smokin' burger, which is another food. Obviously, you seem to really gear towards edible packaging, which is great. Now, these illustrations, though, look so different from the other ones that we've looked at so far. How did this come to be, and why this style?
So this is another example of opening up Illustrator and just seeing what happens. Because I had first started out with the actual type, and I didn't really plan on adding any illustrations or anything. But then I was looking at it and I was like, this is just nothing right now. So I started sketching some things, and yeah, I just sketched the burger first, and then the chips and everything. And I put it on Illustrator and I was going to fill it out and make it look like a whole burger, whatever. And then I was like, wait, why don't I just keep it pretty simple and just put a shadow, like a colored shadow under? And as soon as I did that, I was like, oh yeah, this looks really cool. Sometimes simplicity is it. It just, it's a different vibe.
Less
and it was
more.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love the photography in this one in particular, the energy that it has. And same sort of thing, like it's just a burger, and it's just repeated 4 times, but it has its own personality and it adds so much to the design, which is cool.
Yeah, and it feels like it's coming at you and you're just going to grab it and start eating.
Now I want one because it is lunchtime. And I also like how, once again, we're seeing patterns throughout all of your work, but you were kind of talking about this sticker style, and I like the actual applications of stickers. It was on the bag to keep it closed. I get that when I get Seamless or Grubhub here. And so it's kind of nice to see that as an intentional part of design. I think that, especially with lockdown, the idea of takeout and delivery radically changed kind of how we interact with it, and it's always really nice to see a brand really take it into account. So I think it's a smart move. And like even this, like whether this is a sticker or just a print on top of it, the center focal point of being like, this is what you're about to eat is really strong.
Yeah, thank you. I love incorporating stickers. I did that with my own branding as well. I just think it's so fun. Just add a white border and now you have a sticker and it's cute.
Yeah, and I mean, especially as we get closer to this, convergence of digital and physical like presence for both brands, I think that stickers are a really easy one that you can literally make stickers, or you could also implement them into GIFs, or you can implement them as stickers in iMessage, or you can just have them placed on random posts. So it helps also you really build up a design library for your own use for other activations, which is nice.
Yeah.
Now, something that we talked about and came up once or twice while we were going through these were these prompts that you have. And I know that one of the things that you also dedicate your time to is it's called the Glow and Grow group, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that? Like where it came from and what the goal is?
So yeah, two of my friends on Instagram actually started it, Victoria and Olivia. And if you go to the page, you can see their handles and go give them a follow. So they started it, and this was back when I was at 5,000 followers. So a long time ago. And I had seen them posting the briefs, and I really loved the briefs that they were coming up with. And they were my friends. And so I was kind of in this position because I had always told myself when I get to 5,000, I want to start this brief thing where I can, give briefs to other designers and create a little community. But they were my friends and I didn't want to step on their toes. So I was like, hey guys, you know what? Can I join you guys? Because I want to do this, but I don't want to, be rude and take up anyone's space. So we decided to do it all together, and it's been really amazing. We started for a while, it was just on our personal pages. And then we started this account. I don't know how long ago, but it's grown so quickly. And it's just so much fun. Every week it's so fun. And yeah.
And so it exists predominantly on Discord and Instagram. Those are the two main places where it kind of the prompts are kind of given out, and then people interact with it by posting on their own Instagrams or by putting it in the Discord that they pay like a membership fee to get into, right?
No, so we don't actually have a Discord. This is 100% free. We do have a Facebook group though.
Okay.
But our goal is just to help designers have ideas for creating things, and you can use it on anything you want.
That's phenomenal. I mean, the fact that it is a free resource to everyone and so accessible without any kind of paywalls is such a nice benefit.
We just, our goal is just to help everyone. I know how helpful briefs were and passion projects in general were when I was starting out. And so we just wanted to make that available to everyone.
Yeah. Robin has another question. Robin, you don't have to apologize about questions. Keep the questions coming. But she says, how do you time manage posting to social media all the work you have done and doing reels for projects? What apps do you use for reels?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Content is like a whole other can of worms because it can be really frustrating. And it's also so interesting how these days anyone who has a small business is also immediately like a content creator as well. So for me, I used to honestly make something and then post it the same day. So I was just making something every single day.
So much work. So much time in a day.
It's so stressful as well. And if you're having an off day and what you made looks terrible and you don't want to post it, it's like too bad.
Right.
So yeah, I don't do that anymore though. I like to take a day out of the week and then just batch prep content and have that ready. And with reels, honestly, I just use the reel maker in Instagram. I know that's kind of crazy to most people, but I don't know. It's just so convenient. Or I'll also use CapCut, which is an app, a mobile app. But otherwise, yeah, that's how I do it.
I mean, I think it's a testament to they're trying to really make it happen with the um the editor for Instagram. You know, they're constantly trying to play with it more. And then
Yeah.
obviously, you know, with Adobe and stuff, people have like Premiere that they bring in, but it's this new like juggle between the two of like creating it in an app and then creating it in another app or creating it in something else and then merging the two. And I think that both have warrant like high quality. It's just interesting to see which approach works best. I was talking to Annika yesterday on Discord, and she was saying that she didn't know how to document something that she was like creating, and we were looking at some reels of someone taking and recording their screen with their phone versus someone taking a screen recording and then putting it into reels. And she's like, which one should we go with? And we were going back and forth, and I was like, well, one, I think both work just great, but it's also really interesting to just see how one has the feeling of like this organic documentation while the other one kind of feels professional. But you know, we're subconsciously all trying different things and absorbing different things, and it's just what works this month isn't going to work next month, or it might work for 5 years.
Yeah,
And it's constantly a
for
game
sure.
of catch up.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's cool to
Yeah.
hear that you just use the Instagram editor and then it works for
Yeah.
your reels.
Like you said, I just like to make them feel really natural. I love doing time lapses as well, and then yeah, just putting them in. Um, but I want everyone to feel like they're in my office with me, just working with me. Like I like to do reels of in the process of how I made something, or I don't know, behind the scenes, or like tutorials. And I just like to shoot it just with my phone at the screen, just to feel like you're sitting right here and I'm just like, hey, look at that. That
Right.
like
And that's like a subconscious communication, you know, that
yeah,
the idea of being like, put yourself in the shoes that you're looking over my shoulder is something that your brain does, but you know, by recording it, you're communicating that, which is interesting.
yeah.
Annika's saying, yeah, definitely a can of worms, don't we know it? And she's laughing because I just called out our conversation. um and then Robin's talking about how TikTok has recently updated with multiple posts now, so you can add carousels and what have you, which
Oh,
is
yeah,
changing
yeah.
the game. Because all these services are constantly changing no matter what's
Yeah, for
happening.
sure. Yeah.
um but I think it's really interesting looking into your whole process, because we obviously see these wonderful final pieces that you post. But one of my favorite segments that we have on the show is what's in your sketchbook, and we get to look at some of the stuff
Mm.
that you sent over and
Yeah.
peel behind the curtain.
Yeah, I'm a very
Ooh, what's in your sketchbook?
So the first one that I have up here is we have Felliver and Paws, and
yes.
you have this cute little balloon animal dog, and it turned into this. But was this create? This is created digitally.
Yes. So this is for my lovely client, Christina. Forever and Paulways is a dog accessory brand, and she's based in Germany. And so Fell is fur, I believe, in German. And so it's like Forever and Paulways, like forever and Paulways, but also like fur.
Oh, that's cute and
Yeah.
clever, and also makes me roll my eyes, but I'm there for it.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun with it. She also loves New York and like metallic balloon dogs. I forget the name of the artist, but there's an artist that came up with that
Jeff
concept.
Koons.
Like, yeah, there. So she wanted to kind of incorporate like a metallic looking balloon dog. So I'm a very messy worker and sketcher, but I just sketched that and then put it into Illustrator and yeah, colored it in, made it look a little painted, but also metallic. I wanted it to be a little ambiguous. And as you can see, this is just the way that we've played with that as like a brand mascot.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, so this is the size chart, and it's kind of like where do you measure your dog using the balloon dog, um, which I thought was fun.
Which gives clear instruction, gives a strong
Yeah.
sense of identity to kind of solidify that brand messaging. And also, it makes it uniform for all dogs that it's not like a Chihuahua or a Great Dane. You know, you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, the neck is going to be the neck. And it's cool
Yeah.
to see that the size chart is then reflected through that.
Yeah, and it's also unique because every single size chart that I was looking at just used either a photo of a dog or an illustration of a dog. But I was like, this is like really cute.
Yeah. I think it turned out really well. And it's also just really nice to see kind of how this started in such a sketch form, and then you just brought it into this nice and finalized form. Now, was the vector of itself all of metallic, all created in like a 2D program like Illustrator?
Yeah, and I just used brush or like the pencil tool, just made shapes. I was looking at a picture of a metallic dog, and I just noticed that everything was just big shapes.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Just made shapes.
So next up, it's my understanding that you're going to blow up a balloon animal and make this dog live on stream, right?
Yeah.
No. Can you imagine? That'd be hilarious. Next up, though, we actually have High Fever, which is your it's a CBD brand. And you focused on these skulls again, which I get really excited about.
You know what? I never noticed the skull thing until you just mentioned it. I do love skulls.
I love skulls, so I'm cheering it on.
Skulls.
And Wild's asking if you sketch on Illustrator, or if you're just like you're sketching with brushes somewhere else.
So yeah, I have a sketchbook, Adobe Fresco. I've tried a bit. Yeah, just anything really. I don't know. Sometimes I have a very clear vision in my mind and I just need to get it out. So you'll see I have some very rough sketches coming up where it was literally me just brain vomiting onto the page just to get it out of my mind.
But I mean, it obviously all turns out to be a beautiful, fine product. I love this flame that you have on the cap of the hot sauce, and also how you then reintegrate it again into the back, and then these repeating. You have a really good sense of when to repeat things and like where to add patterns, which is cool.
Yeah.
But obviously, this kind of started with a simple approach, and then you ended up kind of dividing these two. But it seems like these two are the ones that kind of persevered into the final piece.
Yeah, for sure. And like interesting typeface. I wanted to do like a more wavy, because this project is a CBD infused hot sauce. So I wanted to have sort of like a high sort of, feel to the typography. But when it came down to it, it just didn't feel right. So I went with something a little cleaner. And
I still feel like it has hippie vibes. It still has that
hippie vibes, but it was not like, I wanted to go for something more acid trippy,
right?
But I decided to rein that back a little bit. And
it's also what's a weird concept. Like hot sauce is like something that wakes you up and kind of is woo, but CBD is something that brings you down. So it's
I'd be interested to try it. I wonder if it takes some of like the spice away as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually heard that your tolerance for spice, like it can be trained like a muscle, but nothing ever feels less spicy. It's just your tolerance to it, which is such an interesting concept. But it's cool that you got to do something for hot sauce. Do you eat a lot of hot sauce?
I do. I love spicy.
Oh yeah, I'm a wimp. I can't.
I like my extreme flavors. So yes, I do eat a lot.
Oh yeah, you're talking about sour stuff. Now you're talking about hot stuff. So that makes sense. You're adventurous for that. Sam is saying that the background's working really nicely for this, which I think is great. I mean, yeah, you also still have that pink motif, which is really cool. And then Paloma saying the flame on the top was so smart, which is really nice.
Oh, thank you so much.
Next up, we have Jammies, and we have these cute little teddy bear sketch that's going on. You want to talk about this?
Yes. So this was interesting because I started off with a sketch of a teddy bear, thinking that I was going to refine it and, remake it in Illustrator, make it all nice. But then I was looking at it and I was like, it's kind of a vibe. So I put it into Illustrator and made it into a vector and colored it in. And then you can see how I used it in the logo. Just I changed the ears a little bit, but yeah, it just feels so organic. It's such a vibe. And then I was inspired by that and created leaves around the actual text. And I just think it feels really organic.
Yeah, the sustainability of it
Yeah,
automatically reads. It almost reads like a soap brand or like a baby brand that like almost like Gerber, not Gerber's. Gerber's is too young, but like it feels
yeah.
trustworthy, which is really cool. And that serif was a really good choice
Thank you.
for that typeface.
Yeah, I just wanted something to feel really organic and very boutique as well, not just,
Very boutique.
your mass-produced everything. I wanted it to look very handmade and fresh.
Now, did
Yeah.
you modify this typeface at all?
I don't remember. I made this so long ago.
Oh, really? Okay. It holds up. It still feels very fresh. Still feels
Oh,
very
thank you.
2022.
Thank you. Maybe I did. I don't know.
No, but it's also cool to see that those natural strokes implemented into your work too,
Mm,
because I feel like a lot of the other work that we've seen has been very vectorized and solid shapes, and this one
yeah.
is one of the first ones that I can think of, maybe besides the burger one, that feel
Mm.
like I can see your hand behind it, which is cool to see.
Yeah, as soon as I drew it, I was like, I don't want to change this. It's got so much character.
Yeah.
It looks like a little teddy that, your child has been carrying around for, 3 years and it's falling apart, but like they love it so much. It's like,
Yeah, now you can't do anything to it because your
yeah,
child has imprinted on that animal.
exactly. The emotion behind it. It's got a story.
Yeah. Next up, we are going to revisit the shack that we were looking at a little bit earlier, and these are the preliminary sketches that you had
Yeah.
made for this one.
Like I said, my brain, I work in such a messy way and my sketches are so rough. But this was me again, just like brain vomiting onto the page. I just wanted to get an idea out. I just wanted to see what it would look like with a little hut and a palm tree. So I half tried a few things, and then I was like, you know what? I know what I need to do. And I just got into the zone and yeah. But this was me just like trying to brainstorm a little bit.
Yeah, I'm interested. You ended up going with something that was way more symmetrical and the idea of like a centered thing. Did when you tried the other one that felt more asymmetrical with the house kind of off to the left, did it just feel unbalanced? And what made you go with the centered one?
I think it just came down to like, you know what, it's looking too detailed, it's too much. Keeping it simple would be better. And I just wanted it to be just cuter, just simpler, like a little cottage in the woods, that kind of vibe. So I did something more similar to the one in the bottom corner. But yeah, I did not frame it with 2 palm trees. I thought that was a bit much.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think the bike was such a great idea for that.
Thank you.
Just because it reads well. I see Wild Amani Creative in the chat is asking about you modifying your typefaces. We talked a little bit ago about how making subtle changes really helps create some identity to a typeface. But obviously, I think there's also something to be said about just using typeface as it is. Do you feel like by the majority you normally modify typefaces, or do you think that it's a 50-50? Sometimes you modify, other times you don't.
So I would say it's like 90% that I'll do some sort of tweaking. But definitely there are so many beautiful typefaces out there that you can find, and sometimes they just don't need to be changed, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like there are beautiful, beautiful typefaces. But I do like to just change things here and there. Even if it's just swapping out some glyphs that they have, like glyphs that are included in the typeface, just to find the perfect one. Like with the Marlena Madoff one, I changed the R. It was just a regular R before, but then there was a glyph with like a little bit of a swoosh at the end, and I just thought that seemed more approachable and friendly, which is the vibe we wanted to give across as well. So yeah, I just switched it out for that.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think that's the glyphs is such a small but huge change because it makes it so you didn't just type it out. Like you spent time with the typeface, you spent time with how the letters interact with one another, and then you also explored, whoever created the typeface, they obviously explored these letter forms too to work in a manner. And I think that it's cool and important to always consider that.
Yeah, for sure. Don't forget about glyphs.
Never forget about glyphs.
Never.
Next up, we have acai, which is I believe, is it like a almond based
vegan yogurt?
Is it acai?
Yeah, acai. Yeah, this
was a physical sketch.
This was a physical sketch, and again, very rough. This was me. Yeah, I was just plotting out what I wanted. So obviously the center, the name, and everything. And I knew I wanted that little banner coming in. And then you can kind of see that I wanted to include, the photography, but then in my sketch, I included a little angel wing and halo around, there. Because I knew I wanted to draw that in as well. It was just very rough, but
it's also interesting to see you, like, it is obviously printed on something that is so flat and then wrapped around whatever product there is at hand. But it's interesting to see you designing it with that flatness in mind, and then later having it kind of be implemented into the roundness, which is cool to see. Also, this is a nice touch up here with the dairy-free yogurt made from almonds. Like, nothing else is going on up here, but it feels very important. It catches your eye and it's centered without competing with all the other chaos that's going down here.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is cool. And then,
and including photography as well.
Of course. Yeah, now you can't ever go back to not using photography again.
Exactly. It just makes such a difference. Yeah.
It just creates a good weight to it as well. The weight distribution on all these with the ones are great. Becca is excited about the vegan product representation, and so is Paloma. But yeah, no, it's cool. And it's also, it seems like a lot of times these brands that have vegan approaches also kind of give a little bit more time to design. So it's like, oh, cool, this feels vegan because it feels pretty.
Yeah, definitely. He's better vegan.
Then I couldn't. I'd like to be vegan, but I just
I'm not vegan, but in my heart, I'm vegan.
Exactly. And then we have one last one that you went ahead and you sent me over, and this is the Perfect Match shop. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up for it's the hot stuff, and this one specifically I feel like has a lot of uniqueness to, like, it's just a custom type, right? Like, you just fully went in there and were like, I'm gonna create the typeface from hand.
Yeah. So what happened with this? So basically, this is for their merch. So you're not seeing a whole design because they're basically gonna take the actual hot stuff, finished thing, and put it on different merch and stuff like that, which hasn't been created yet, but this is what it's going to look like. And we wanted it, they're a candle shop, so we wanted it to look very melty, very waxy, and everything wrapping around each other. So yeah, I drew it out. And then actually what I did was I found like just a bubbly sort of typeface. And then just for some sort of guide. And then I went in with the pencil tool and just drew it out according to my sketch that I did. And yeah.
That's great. Now I know that you kind of said the secret word here, and you had mentioned something that you used in the creation of this, and I think that'd be a great time to go into. I didn't know that was there.
What? I didn't know that was there.
All right. So for I didn't know that was there, it's just a small segment that we have when we talk about different product features that affect our workflow and show how something very small or something very monumental can go and really affect the work that we're creating. And I know that you spoke of this pencil tool, and that's one that you said that you would maybe want to explore as to how it affected the way that you approach your work.
Yeah, the pencil tool is amazing. So Definitely, it took me a while to get into it, just because I didn't really understand how powerful it was. But basically, you can just fully change anything, like just by drawing it. I know it sounds crazy, like basic, but it's so handy for typography manipulation. If you have a letter and then convert it to outlines, you can just grab the pencil tool and then just draw over like the edge of it and just change the shape completely, and it'll just do it like that. And you can also change the settings to make it smoother. So if you don't have such a steady hand or you're not so good with it, it'll just smooth it out for you. And then there's also the smooth tool, which if you hold down Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC, you can just smooth out your lines, and that's really great too.
Would you
Yeah.
be willing to pull something up and just kind of show us how you would
Yeah.
apply that to maybe like a random letter form? It doesn't have to be anything finished or anything.
Yeah, so I'll just go into my Illustrator now. Let me know if you can see my screen.
We can see it.
Okay, great. So here, for example, I'll just make an H, and I'll just pick a font, groovy, fun. Create outlines, and then literally grab the pencil tool, which is the shortcut is N, and say I don't like this little corner piece here, this little fin. I'm just gonna see.
Whew,
1 second,
gone.
Hold down Alt, you can smooth this part out. It's incredible. And here on this side as well, just like smooth it out, get rid of it. Yeah, it's really great. I love
And
it.
that's just you switching. You have the pencil tool is kind of how you got rid of the switch that you didn't want. And then when you wanted to kind of smooth it out, you I know you said you pressed N to get into the pencil. How'd you get over to the smooth tool?
So you hold down Alt on a Mac, Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC, or you can find it in your tools here somewhere. But yeah, it's just I use this all day, every day, and you can also just draw shapes so easily. Oh wait, hold on, that was selected like that. Oh,
Wow.
oh wait.
Well, I mean, it still creates a path for it. You might just have to do a fill for it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Extremely useful. And one of those things is I normally find myself like creating strange shapes to then use the Pathfinder to cut things out, and being able to hop in and just use the pencil tool to quickly get rid of something without being inhibited by adding 3 extra steps by creating a shape and using Pathfinder and ungrouping. I think that's a very fast tip, which is cool.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Thank you for sharing. We're about an hour through our stream, and normally when we are about this way through, we like to take a break. And so I'm going to let you maybe grab some water and relax or something, and I'm going to guide everyone else through some monkey paws.
All right.
All right, so monkey paws. This was introduced to me by Anna Davis-Court. She's another streamer on Behance and on Adobe Live. She does some really beautiful illustrations, but she always really likes to focus on the idea of taking care of your hands and your wrists, and being able to do some exercises to make sure that these guys don't go away anytime soon. Because as artists, we rely on them so much, and need to have we need to have them as resources. We need to have them as tools. So this is just something that you can do at your desk. If you guys are working on anything right now, here is your reminder to save your work. It is time to get up, do some jumping jacks, grab some water, you name it. But if you are also able to do so, take some break on your hands. And what we're going to do is we're just going to walk through a very simple exercise. If you've been here before, it's going to remain the same. But what you're going to do is you're going to reach out your hands like this. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to bring in your fingers to make these monkey paws. And that's why we call them monkey paws. And this is exercise number 1. So go like this. You go, ooh, ah, ah, ooh, ah. If you don't make the noises, it doesn't work. So it's very important. So number 1, you just hold it. Also, I'm not a medical professional. If this hurts, stop. But also you should be able to like feel some things as it's going on. So that's exercise number 1. Then the next thing that we're going to do is you're going to put our hands down like this, kind of like creeper thriller kind of vibes. Ross is going to want to join us apparently. And we're going to go ahead and bring in to make those monkey paws again. Ooh, ah, ah. Roscoe is wondering what I am doing with my hands. Hello, sir. And then release those. You might want to shake up a little bit more. You can then flip your hands over for exercise number 3, where you're giving away the monkey paws. You're like, here you guys go. And you bring it in. And ooh, ah, ah. And you can feel that. And then for the last one, we're going to then bring them to our own face like this. And this is the one that I always feel the most. I'm not sure about you guys. And then you bring in the monkey paws and ooh, ah, ah. And that one I always really feel down, especially like right here or so. Which is good. I mean, you want to feel like a stretch, you know, you don't want to hurt yourself. So if it's painful, you should definitely stop. But just doing that quickly, you know, shake it up, kind of let it out. You can do this a few times. Normally on stream, we do just go through all 4 exercises twice. But you can, by all means, make them last a lot longer. And you can use this pretty much at any time. For this one, like sometimes it helps if I like move my thumb a little bit. And it's just a good habit to get into because carpal tunnel isn't an issue until it is. And then once it is, I don't know if you guys have ever had issues with it, but it can make the smallest movements so painful down your arm, and then you just can't get deadlines done. And it's super frustrating. Yeah, so you can do that. Obviously, there's some other ones I know that we saw. We were talking about like this yesterday, I think with Diego, where you can go like these. I also have a special nerdy kind of mouse that has you hold it like this, so that you're moving your wrist like this rather than like this, because this is not a natural movement. But yeah, that's monkey paws for you. And then it hopefully just gives, I guess, a little bit of a break as well. I'm going to go ahead and actually hop straight into the activation that we have for Inktober. And so we'll have like about another 2-minute break, and then we'll bring Ayelet back right after that. So I'm really excited to show you guys David. He is an extremely talented illustrator I found through the Inktober tab. He works entirely in traditional media and for Inktober. And I'll let him speak for himself, but a really cool guy, and check it out.
My name is David Habben, and I'm an illustrator and an artist and an educator, and I'm based in Utah. This year I'm using the actual Inktober list. I've done it for a long time now, kind of since it started. I don't know, this has got to be my 5th or 6th. Or my usual rule for myself is I do it traditional. I love drawing with the good fountain pen, and I have a nice one that my wife gave me. I'm trying out some new ink this year that makes it even better. I love it. I love drawing with it. I try not to do any preliminary sketches. I have enough time to look at what the daily prompt is, do a drawing, and then I move on. I start with the blank page and the pen and go from there. You know, sometimes I'll look up, like this one yesterday was bat. And I was like, oh, I don't even know how do I draw a bat? What does a bat look like? So I'll look at like a bunch of photos before I start, but then I just go straight in without any sketches. And so it's like what you see in the post is just as it is. I think a fun challenge to see what you can come up with without any safety net. I do think the ones that are most challenging are when it's like an emotion or like really kind of nebulous. Sometimes even just an action can be hard. Like day 2 with Scurry, you know, of course everybody's like, oh, Scurry makes you think of a mouse or something. It was like, well, how can I make this mouse interesting and show some movement in there? So there's like that bit of a mental challenge. But when it comes to stuff where it's really open-ended, those are the ones that I like, but they're also a little more time consuming because you have to kind of like give it some time to ruminate. I did see that today is scallop, I think. And I like that because that makes me think of some of the symbolism of that. So if there's like an object that's got fun symbolism, I usually get excited about that. You know, when I'm working with something like a fountain pen and I get fine line work, I'm really kind of subconsciously pulling from a lot of line artists, you know, that have existed for centuries, all the way back to engravings. So I've got this kind of textural line style that I love to use, sometimes really tight and really like dialed in, and other times really kind of sketchy and open. And then I also use ink with broad dry brushes and create abstract compositions and characters out of these really wide, scratchy rake kind of styles. I don't know. I feel like it's hard for me to pin it down a little bit, and I think I kind of like that a little bit. That I'm not super within one realm, within one little box. And I'm also starting a new workshop series called Destroy Your Sketchbook, where we encourage people to really dive into their sketchbooks and use it as a safe space to create anything you want, to make mistakes, to use it as a visual diary. We're doing an AIGA Design Week event for that. You can find me on Instagram at Habben_illustration and at Destroy Your Sketchbook, and on Twitter at Habben_draws. I do my my illustrative commissions with the Bright Agency. You can connect with them on my website. I love Inktober, and I also know that from my own experience, you got to do it in a way that works for you. What I love about the Inktober idea is that you're creating something every day. And so I hope that people approach it with that mindset of like, what can I make today? What can I create today?
Oh, and the monkey paws thing is still up. Welcome back, everybody. And David is actually in the chat over on Behance, which is really cool. So like I said, yeah, David was a pleasure to talk to. Was really excited going through his process and seeing how he just sits down and works through something without any preliminary sketches, which is wild to me. And so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring Ayelet back in, but let's actually continue this Inktober conversation by looking at some of the ones that I had found online today. Well, welcome back. Hi. Hope you enjoyed your break.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I really enjoy looking at different Inktobers. It's something that I personally have never been able to do just because, like, man, oh man, is it a huge commitment. But obviously when you've done something, when you're creating something every day, I'm sure that you kind of have this understanding of what it's like to have one of these crazy challenges. Would you ever do anything like Inktober or anything?
Probably not. The pressure would be way too much.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah, but content planning and then prepping and everything is kind of like that as well. Like, yeah, it's high pressure like that. You have to have everything ready. But it looks fun, and I know that you can get really far by just posting something like the 100 Days of Design Challenge. There's a really great artist, Pink Pony Creative. She started out completely doing the 100-day design challenge, and now she's like this crazy, amazing, big designer. So yeah, you can get really far. Hi, kitty.
He just if I lock him out, then he just wails, and then you can hear him wailing in the background. So it's kind of just always a Russian roulette whether or not he's going to show up. We actually had Pink Pony Creative on Offset, I think, season 2 or so. And she's great, super talented. But you know, it's really interesting to see how adding so much time to that also can really have a direct impact on audience growth. So like I said, yeah, I have a few different ones that I had pulled up. And so there are like 100 different prompt lists. So I like to go in here and I like to put the prompt. I like to put the user, and then I used to put the hashtag that I see that they assigned to. And this one is Shade by the Bone Forest. And I thought this was super creepy, but I loved it because it felt kind of like a Victorian portrait, but gone wrong. What do you think?
Okay, I think firstly it's really, really cool. And I don't think this is a digital illustration, is it? It looks kind of like,
I think this is actually traditional as well.
Yeah, it looks like watercolors. It's super cool. You'll see later when I share my favorite artist, that I love abstract and that sort of thing. And I love when you can create your own interpretation from it. I don't know. I'm just getting a lot of vibes here.
No, it's wonderful.
It's kind of like representative of stress a little bit, or like, I don't know, society's standards for women. I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but I kind of feel like that with like the corset and like the big dress and everything, and it's like a bit too much.
Yeah.
No.
I'm also reading like some Medusa vibes to it as well, but that also might be because we looked at Medusa stuff earlier, but it feels very snaky with the way that this material is coming out of her neck. but I could definitely see a commentary on the female experience with it. I'm not sure if the Bone Forest is male or female. I actually didn't see. But regardless, it looks like it's making some commentary, which is cool.
Yeah, it does.
Next up, we have Emerge, which is through Gisttober, which I guess is this person's prompt list since they have Gris. And I love how you can see the detail between the nose and the mouth and the ripples underneath. I just think it's really cool. And this also looks like this is fully traditional as well.
Yeah, for sure. Looks really good. I know water is super hard to draw, so that's super impressive.
Yeah, I would get so frustrated. That's the thing. It's like whatever you sit down to draw, you have to also like be able to commit to making that piece be your piece for the day. And like if you start with something with water, you're like, okay, I'm gonna get it down, or I'm gonna get frustrated and have to start over. So it's like remarkable to see that work out.
Good.
Next up, we have Trip, which is I think is an older one of Inktober, but it's kind of hard to pull up the ones that are of the day just because we do go live earlier in the day. I thought this one was disgusting, but very well done.
It's really cool.
I think it's like an eye, like a tripping out eye that is emerging from a tongue.
I immediately thought of an acid trip.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the dots all over the tongue. I think that's such a great approach to being able to do the tongue, because it doesn't look like they use as many dots for the teeth or the lips as they do the tongue. And yeah, it's like a simple way of using Trip, because Trip, I know when we were looking actually at the one that we just were with David, his witch was the one that was like going on a trip. And so it's interesting that this is an approach of Trip, which is nice.
Yeah.
Then we have Forget, and this one's wild to me. By Lee Yuden.
Wow, there's like an astronaut and everything.
Yeah, it's got like a moose going on,
There's
sort of
so
thing.
much to dissect here. I love it.
And because of skulls, I'm sure that you probably vibe with this a little bit.
Yeah, didn't even know about that, but yeah, I love it.
We're finding things out about ourselves today. I'm into that. If we can walk away with anything today, if it's like some self-discovery, we did our job.
Exactly. Yeah.
Super
cool.
There's another Forget that we have from Violet Artist, and it's kind of like a decrepit house.
I really love this.
I also love the attention to the forestry to the back left. It's subtle. It doesn't have too much information, but it's there to give space and further commentary on the decrepitness of the house while keeping the house at the center focus, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. It's also like consuming the house, which I feel like is like it's making the house become a memory and like forgotten, and it's absorbing it, and the house is fading away slowly, just like the memory and the person that lives there. I don't know. That's what I'm getting.
It's beautiful. No, I think it's a really great interpretation of it. It it can at the end of the day just be a house, but then kind of there's so much more to it, and the idea of forgetting and how the art approaches it tells a story, which is cool. And then we have S'mores by Cody Bear, and this one's adorable, and it's just a little mouth with a giant. I mean, I don't know how he's going to eat the s'more. Also, it's probably terrifying that he's putting it on the fire, and the fire is probably bigger than his whole body. But
yeah, this
Cody
needs to be on a little s'mores kit,
right? Yeah, like you could like little marshmallow kit, a little s'mores package. It'd be very fun. And then I only have one more, I believe. And I thought it was funny. From Kenzie Lee PDF.
I love him. He's so cute.
Kind of reminds me of Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends or something. Mixed with like a minion. I don't know. But then he has a little s'more, which is cute.
Yeah, that's a cute one.
But yeah, so that's what I have just for today for Inktober. Thanks for looking at those with me. Would love to continue to go down this rabbit hole of looking at other people's work for a segment that we have called Art Talk. So you went ahead and you actually sent me over two really great artists that you wanted to talk about. And the first one is Adriana Nava. And do you want to just talk a little bit about why you chose them and what inspires you about their work?
Yeah. So, oh gosh, I love this. Okay. So, when you told me about this segment and to prepare an artist, I honestly couldn't think of any. I wanted to highlight a like more traditional artist, like not graphic designer. I wanted to do traditional art because that's also my background.
Mhm.
And I really couldn't think. And then I remembered one time I was walking home and I passed this art gallery and this piece was in the window and I literally stopped dead in my tracks and I was like taken aback by it. This piece, I don't know, I've never felt like this before for an art piece where it makes me feel so many emotions. It makes me feel so many things. Um, Gosh, I just love it so much. I love how abstract it is and it's so open for interpretation, but it also kind of feels like a memory of like a really good day that you had with your partner where you were like exploring a new city. And like there are some things that are really detailed in your mind, but the rest is kind of a blur, but you know it was like just a really beautiful day.
Right.
I don't know. It just really speaks to me. And there's another piece of hers as well, which is the same kind of vibe I get. But also it's kind of sad as well. It's like sad and happy.
I think this
Maybe
one has
it's
more
like,
blues. Maybe it feels
yeah.
more mellow for that. But I like how you talked about the idea of your memory and like you see specific details and then the rest are just generally abstracted. I think
Yeah.
that there's some crazy detail far away in this
Yeah,
one, like this
exactly.
one.
Which is like the opposite of how it works usually. But
Right.
I love just how different this is and it breaks all the rules. And it's like in the foreground, that's where everything disappears.
Yeah.
And you have to like go into the painting to see everything. I
Now
don't
you
know.
said that you were originally traditionally trained. Do you ever do painting?
I used to. My medium of choice was oil pastels.
Okay.
Um, and I did a lot of pasteling, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my background. And then I sort of switched to digital illustrations. I don't know, about like 3 years ago in
Oh,
2015.
I am so sorry. I saw a question earlier and I forgot to ask you it. I'm not sure if they're still here or not, but somebody was wondering, where was it? It was about the photography that you chose, how you chose what to incorporate um, into your pieces. And because I was thinking, like, at the same time, it'd be really interesting to see pastels, also that texture incorporated into your own work.
Hmm.
And just kind of like, how do you source extra materials when you want to add them to mocks, like the photography or something else that you don't create firsthand?
So Adobe stock photos is great for that. You can find lots of photos on Unsplash or things like that.
Do you have
Um,
like a process approaching that though? Like, do you like just go in and you just type like fruit and see where it goes?
Pretty much,
Or
yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I'll type fruit and just see what kind of jumps out at me. Typically, I just like to go for something simple,
hmm
just to bring freshness and life to the packaging or mock-up, whatever.
yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of that way. I just search fruit and just see what works best. If it should be sliced or like a whole fruit, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And then the second artist that you have here for this this art talk is it
Janet
Daniel?
Lechner.
Yeah, it's such a colorful approach, which I can
Oh
totally
man,
see the crossover between the two of you.
this I need to have one of these pieces in my office one day.
Mhm.
Probably the Autumn in New York one. Gosh, that I love that.
Now,
Yeah,
how did you find this one?
so when I was finding the pieces to show you for Adriana's artwork, she came up too, and I'd never seen her pieces before. But immediately when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god!" I love the mix of photography, but like painting and then like other thing. It's just everything. It just looks so fresh and cool, and you can't really tell what's happening, but like it just works so well.
And it once again has that connection that you were calling out earlier with the clarity and the non-clarity.
Yeah, I love that. I just love when it's not all, drawn out for you
Yeah.
and you can just find what you want from it. And these also kind of remind me of like a memory, like especially the dreams come true one. I don't know. I want that in my office. It's just so cool.
And then speaking of your office, we do have a part of our show where we like to have people kind of show off their stuff. And you were so kind enough to actually send over some pictures of your workspace. So I'd love to check that out.
Could I see your collection?
So, you sent over this picture of your desk. It's got some beautiful neon. This is your workspace. How do you build out your workspace? And how does it inspire you?
Okay. First things first, this picture's a little outdated because really sadly, that beautiful pink neon lip sign broke today.
No.
It's
it's an omen. I don't like it.
So it was the first thing I bought for my office space. So I don't know what the universe is trying to tell me, but the plug literally broke in the socket today, which is really sad. So yeah, this picture's a little outdated. Things have changed, but this space is such a contrast to the rest of the apartment. Everything else is very minimal. I'm a very minimalistic person, believe it or not.
Okay.
But my desk was just like, I just wanted to put anything and everything. So I love collecting different art pieces, different knickknacks, stickers, just everything. So if you look through the photos, I can talk you through everything.
Yeah, we also have this picture of this sidewall a little bit closer. Still that sad neon sign still there.
Seriously, rip. So sad. So these little like prints or pictures or whatever, I actually ordered from AliExpress. They were like, I don't know, $1 or something. And when they came, I didn't really know what to do with them or why I even ordered them. But then I just put them on the wall and I was like, this looks really cool. I don't know. You either hate it or you love it. But
I'm all for it. I love it.
And then the vision board I made and framed, and then just put some fairy lights around it.
Do you often make a lot of vision boards? Is that part of your process?
I think I made this like at the beginning of the year, like New Year's. And I think I'm going to stick to that. Just make a vision board, one per year. And also it would be cool to see how it evolves in terms of what I prioritize more. But this was very much about like working hard and everything.
Yeah, I see CEO there, but I also see family and travel and health, which are all very also important to take priority. You also went ahead and you sent over some pictures of some prints that we have here a little bit closer. Where'd you get the prints from?
So these prints I made, not the big prints of the hotel, but this print and then the other picture you have. This is also what I used to do before brand design. I thought this is what I wanted to create, like these prints that could be put on, I don't know, stationery or towels or something. And so I have them actually scattered all around the apartment. You can see behind me as well. But I printed them in really small and then just, right over there. I printed them in really small and then just put them on my desk just to fill out space.
I mean, as always, the saturation of colors rings true. It's really interesting to see. Like you say that your apartment's mostly like sage green because obviously you have such an aversion to, or not aversion, a draw to these colors. And so it's interesting. I mean, like I said, I'm still all for sage green. Sage green's a beautiful color.
Yeah, my office space, I love color. I like to sit down and feel like I'm in a wonderland. But in the rest of the apartment, I just want everything zen.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's also nice to have that. Like they always say, you should have a separate place to work and a separate place to hang out. Just because it has that mental divide between the two. Can you please tell me more about this pin board, though?
Oh my God. So this pin board is crazy. It started out basically a long time ago. My husband actually just bought me a pin board and then just put some really nice client reviews that I had on it. And some of my work that he loved, and he put it on, and he just made it for me so I could have it there. And anytime I felt like a little down or a little imposter syndrome-y, I could look over and read what the nice things my clients had said to me. And then I just started printing out more stuff and just filled it out, and I can't really stop. And yeah,
I
it's
just
crazy.
love how it's overflowing. I see we have some jammies there. We talked about the jammies earlier. It looks like you have some celebrations of milestones you have with your audience, which is really cool. Nice reminder.
I haven't updated it in a while, but
it's always so great to see, because it's like a reminder that you're like, yes, I was really excited about 10,000, and like the idea that
on there you can see it hiding away.
What's on there?
5,000 as well, 5, and I think even 1,000.
Just because, it's something lame that the human brain does, that like once you reach a goalpost, then like, then it has to be bigger, then it has to be bigger. And it's always so important to always remember, be like, no, like I have gotten so far, and I've been so excited about how far I've gotten. And so I really like being able to see the past goalposts also being there.
And also my old branding, you can see that A at the very top right corner. That was my first logo that I had for ages.
Oh man. Okay.
So it's just like remembering my roots. But then, I don't know. It's also really handy when I'm on like a client call or whatever, and they're trying to explain something. If I see something similar on my pinboard, I'll just take it out and be like, is this what you mean? Or like this kind of thing. It's handy to have it there.
And then the last thing that you have shared over is, we actually have this in common. I also have a sticker collection. But this looks like you have it kind of like on a sketchbook of yours. Is this a special sketchbook that is like a diary, or is like you put only specific things in?
So this is just my sketchbook, but also anytime I have a call, I'll write down notes. This book is for anything. It's so random. It's one of those books that just anytime I need a piece of paper, this is it. And I just have a whole lot of stickers that honestly I don't use, but occasionally I'll find something to cover with stickers. And so I covered this with stickers, and then also my phone stand, which was just like a really cheap phone stand from IKEA. And I just put these stickers all over it just to make it interesting and fun.
Yeah, but make it pretty now. And so now it has all these like nice flowers, and
it's an art piece.
And it's a mood board too. Like you can always get inspiration from the things that surround you, which is nice.
Yeah, that's my goal for my space. I want to be able to look around and just get ideas.
Well, thank you. I know that it's obviously a very personal thing to let others into your home and your workspace to see how you live and interact. But it's really inspiring to see, and makes me kind of want to update my own space to add more visual stimulus, just so that I kind of am inspired by what I look around at.
Yeah.
Because obviously, and it's cool that you're so surrounded by like records and documentation of your growth. We have one last segment here that we have from this to that, which kind of touches on that as well. And we're going to take a look at some of your older stuff and see how you feel about it now, and what you've learned, and how you've gotten to where you are now.
From this to that.
So the first thing that you sent me over was this juice illustration, and you said that you want to talk about how you wanted to be a digital illustrator first, and it took you a long time to find your niche. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So I think I said I started graphic design in 2019. And at first, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to just do like random digital illustrations like this. I don't really know like what for or where I would have gone with this, but people do really cool things. But yeah, it's so funny seeing my old stuff like this, because it was such a different time in my life.
Yeah. When was this? Like, how many years ago was this?
Oh my God, so long ago. Maybe like, oh gosh, probably 2019, probably something like that.
All right. So not too remarkably long ago, but the amount of detail that you've now incorporated into your work, you've made such strides. I mean, this is a beautiful piece, but it's just obviously you've also grown from here, which is cool to see.
Yeah. And it took a while to find my niche, because I love illustration, but I wanted just something more like I don't know, satisfying. It was just, okay, I completed an illustration. Great. Move on to the next one. But with branding, I love it so much because, you create this whole brand identity, illustrations, logos, everything. And it's just so complete. I love it.
Absolutely. Next thing that you have up is this orange print, which I can see some easy crossover with some of the stuff that you have now. And it surprises me though that you have this, and then you were like, "Oh yeah, no, I didn't realize I wanted to use photography," because you are edging that line so much with this illustration to get closer to photography, and it's interesting that it took you a little bit longer to then actually be like, "Wait, what if I actually used real photos?"
Yeah, it's interesting. I never thought about it that way, but this was before like the other prints that I made. Again, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to like make stuff like this and then, I don't know, make products with it. I don't know what I
And this was
wanted
just for
to do,
fun.
but yeah, it was for fun, but also practice to like get into this digital illustration in this way, like that kind of world. Yeah.
And do you still like it?
I do still like it. I think my niece actually has it in her room.
Oh, that's nice.
So.
I feel like they're definitely, it could definitely be printable to have something like this. You have your first branding project that you sent over as well, which was Half Full. Was this like 2019?
This was June or July last year. This wasn't for a client. This was completely my very first piece of branding that I ever did, except for my logo. And I just wanted to see if I could do it. And so it's just so funny to see like how much I've changed, how much my skills have changed. And
okay,
yeah,
what would you change about this now? Like if you were to have to jump back into it?
Oh gosh, I'd start again from scratch. For
Really?
sure.
You wouldn't keep anything that you have here?
Maybe like the orange/lemon slice, but even that, I don't even know if it makes sense. So maybe like the waviness. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's timeless. The wave kind of is something that has always been like a design element that's come and gone from fashion, but I think that it's pretty timeless.
Yeah.
Next up,
nicely, but not in this way.
we have Little Wave, which you can see that this is kind of the start of your repeating patterns as part of interiors of packaging design.
For sure.
And where did this come from?
So this was like my second bit of branding that I did, and again, just for fun. And I don't know. It's so funny seeing this again. But I also didn't really know how mockups worked. So I was still learning that. But yeah, you can see I was kind of realizing that I should include more illustrations, and I learned how to make a pattern. And yeah, I was still very new to like Illustrator and everything at this point. So yeah, it was fun.
No, it has a lot of personality.
Though. Yeah,
I think it still holds up. The thing that I see that's more present in your newer patterns is like dynamic interaction between the objects more so than them just being like tiled by themselves. Now I feel like
there's like empty spaces and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a very cute pattern. I feel like I could totally see this, especially like on a pillow or something too. I
think the colors work, but it also seems a little gray and dull. I would definitely make it more vibrant and fun.
Then we have Miss Mac's shopping bag. You start playing around with the idea of like a sticker over the top, and then create this crazy A.
Yeah, customizing typography. This is when it all started. Yeah, I was just practicing with like a lot of things. I think for the most part, it holds up. I like the Miss Max itself. The illustrations I would do over completely. And this is like in contrast to Miss Max, this is what I would do with it these days. Like now, I would make the illustrations like more delicate and beautiful. And this is kind of like the same idea and how I did it in a different way.
Right. No, the detail of this illustration is remarkable. I love
Thank
like even the tiny little lines that you have underneath the cream on top.
you. Yeah, I wanted to keep it very sketched, very organic and very delicate looking.
Yeah.
And so this was way more recent than Miss Max. And so if I were to go back to Miss Max, this is the approach I would have for sure.
No. Although what I will say, I think this icing bag is adorable.
Oh, thank you.
He's so cute.
And I do like the little whisk.
Yeah, right. Like I think there's something there for the little icons. Maybe there would be like different bullet points or something in a pamphlet that you could use. But
Yeah, well,
it's
on
a
like a
little.
website or
I'm also
something.
just a sucker for like the little stuff, like the little.
Yeah.
When people are on Instagram or Twitter and they like make like tiny foods with tiny utensils,
Oh
I
my
always think
God,
that's
I
so
used to watch those videos all the time. That's so satisfying. I need to get a little kit and do it myself.
the weirdest satisfying. Like, why is it satisfying? I don't know.
You just reminded me. I need to get a kit and do that. Looks so
Right?
fun.
Oh, I take credit for it if you do part of it.
Okay, I'll definitely tag you.
We have Patsy Pies, which seems like an extension also of the one we just looked at.
Yeah, same kind of
And
vibe.
getting more confident, getting more
Yes.
experimental.
Yeah, so this is in contrast to what you just saw, which is this is kindness cookies, which is what I created for a client.
Mhm. This
And
is
it's
sick.
again,
That's so cool.
it's thank you. It's kind of showing you like what I would do differently nowadays, just with the illustrations. For the most part, I love Patsy's Pies, and I used to have a lot more time, so I fully made a menu.
Mhm.
Now I don't have time for this anymore, but
Isn't that wonderful though? You've
yeah,
gotten to
so
a point where you don't have time anymore. Like, heck yeah, that's the dream.
yeah, it was really fun at the time. But for the most part, I do like this branding. It's just the illustrations, I think, and this is the approach I would have these days, for sure.
Right. Robin says she really likes the pattern overlay on the bag, and I think that it adds such a luxurious vibe, like almost like Louis Vuitton or something. I know
Oh,
it's pies and cookies, but like it feels very elegant. It elevates it a lot.
thank you so much. Yeah, I used to do that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good technique. It's another thing that's kind of timeless, and then also just helps add brand identity to the whole and whole product, the whole being. And then we got just two more real quick. We have the visionary compared to the sour you said, which is this mailing box that you have, and then the box that you also ended up having with the period.
Yeah, you can see. Obviously, the visionary was way before period.
Mhm.
And if you go back to the visionary box, you can see I was trying to do what I did with period, which is just having these sticker sort of illustrations, but I just don't think I did it very well. And there's a million things I would change with visionary. Like I love the concept, but the logo needs to be changed. The sticker illustrations need to be better. Yeah, I would just change a lot. I'm pretty sure there's a typo there as well.
Oh, really? I didn't catch it, but I think the stickers work. Yeah, I could see how you could maybe elevate them a little bit more. But
Although,
it's cool to see
fun
that.
fact, that the because this was a passion project, so the little hand holding money I reused in my own branding.
You're like,
Yeah.
okay, it's mine now.
I fixed it up and then reused it.
And then the last one we have, and we're almost at time also, is this the ice cream that we looked at earlier and kind of comparing
Yeah.
it to the dead sour.
Yeah, so this is the kind of thing I do nowadays, and just how that has progressed from where I started. And yeah, I just feel like I'm more bold, louder with my packaging, and yeah, I like it a lot more.
Oh, 100%. Well, thank you for walking us through so many different things today. We went through your Instagram and we went through your design branding. Are you available for work with design, or are you mostly booked up these days?
So I am mostly booked up these days. I do book like a few months in advance, but you can always inquire via my website, designbyayelet.com. And if you want to work with me, yeah, we can just have a chat and see if our schedules line up and see what happens.
What is your dream job of a product that you would want to work on?
Oh, my dream project. Oh,
Mhm.
anything with dogs. I'm such
Anything
a
with
dog.
dogs?
Anything with dogs. Especially if you like cute illustrations and like photos of dogs and stuff like that. Yeah.
It would be fun to see your stuff with like a dog food of some kind, because they have all those boutique like subscription services for like real food for dogs, that I feel like makes a sense for a happy medium with your work.
Yeah. Anything. Yeah. Seriously, I would love to do that.
And then what can people do if they want to get involved with your prompts, the ones that you have running with your friends?
So follow the Glow and Grow Club account, and we post a new brief every Wednesday. So there was one out today. And then we also pick a winner. We do a vote every Wednesday as well in the stories of our top 4. And yeah, whoever wins just gets featured on the page. There's 10,000 followers on there and growing very quickly. So yeah, it's a really great community, and everyone's so interactive, so kind, and it's such great practice. So go check it out, follow the other girls, follow me, and yeah.
Let's see what today's prompt was. The brief was mugged,
Yeah.
but not in the violent way.
No.
The way to have like a mug on the side of things, and so that would be
Exactly.
interesting. Do you normally also do creations for the prompts, or is that only sometimes that you get to do them?
Whenever I have time, I love to do it. I think I kind of am tempted to do one for mugged, because this brief was actually my idea. It's like a little DIY ceramics studio sort of thing. So I think that'd be cute and cool. And you were seeing the nominations for last week's brief. Yeah, and then at the end we have a vote, and you can vote for your favorite, and then the winner will get featured on our page.
This is genius, and it's always cool how it's like it seems like it's similar aesthetics too, but it also feels like people are really bringing their own taste to it.
Yeah, it's so cool how everyone's
also
just so creative and amazing.
It's also so fun to also see like people take the same prompt and come up with completely different things, especially with like with Inktober. One of the cool things is just seeing how many ways a single thing can be interpreted. And I always just think that's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's awesome too. I love seeing, that's my favorite part, when I'm scrolling through everything and I just see how like one prompt can just make so many different things, and it's so cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. And we're looking forward to seeing what comes next from you. Obviously, everyone should go give you a follow. We have your handles for Instagram and TikTok on the bottom. Sam was kind enough to put the Glow and Grow Club in the chat for you guys if you guys want to join that prompt list. And yeah, no, thank you again. Is there anything else you want to promote before we say goodbye? I think I already asked, but I just want to double check.
Yeah, just my Instagram, everything. I'm so honored to be part of this today. When you asked me, I was like blown away. I was like, oh my God, me.
Well deserved. I mean, I had a wonderful time today.
It's so surreal. It's like, yeah, I can't believe I have this opportunity. I'm just really grateful for everything that's been coming up recently. So thank you.
Well, hopefully it keeps the ball rolling, and we're excited to see what comes up next.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Well, I'm gonna let you go real quick from here. But as for everybody else, I will be back in about an hour and a half with something else. But coming up next on Adobe Live, I have to check the schedule. I really need to get better about doing this. Sam, what comes up next? Do you know? I'm pulling it up as we speak. But stay tuned here on Adobe Live. Lots of cool stuff all day. We have Lars Gal coming on in an hour and a half. But up next is Find Your Own Style with Cody Bear and Voodoo Val, which is going to be totally crazy because it's two very different styles, two very, very talented ladies. And it'll be exciting to see what they do. But if you just stick around, it'll push you there automatically. Thank you, Sam, for moderating. Thank you, everyone, for all your questions and comments. And I hope to see you guys back here in just a little bit. Take care. Bye. You're still here? It's over. Go home.
Go.